Hello, Jessica.
Hi, Lauren.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We're filming tonight with video. Woo! Getting bigger.
And by video, we mean my iPhone stuck in a little tripod.
Yep. We're not there yet.
We don't have a production company just yet.
So tonight we're going to talk about Below Deck Med.
Yeah.
Real Housewives of Dubai.
Dubai.
A little Bravo in the headlines because there's some interesting stuff going on.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll end with our Gen Z and conspiracy theory topics.
Perfect.
So hopefully folks are watching Below Deck Med. I think it's good.
Better be. Yes, I'm into this crew.
I'm into it too.
Yeah, for sure.
So we actually have two kind of episodes now that we've seen in the last week-ish.
Yeah. Let's be honest, not a ton is happening, and I feel like that's always the beginning of these seasons. It's like they're trying to get you to learn the new crew because it's always new people. So there isn't a ton of drama, so we thought we could combine two episodes into one to review.
Right. So last episode...
It ended with Gail attempting to go sneak off.
Right.
And the fact of that it was only a producer / cameraman making you have the second, like, thinking about it was insane. Yeah. I mean...
So she's a deckhand and she goes to sneak off to make out with another deckhand.
Oh, make out, sure, Lauren. I'm sure that's all they were gonna do.
Like
there
in
were
an
no
area,
cameras,
right? In an area of the ship with no cameras, even though she has a boyfriend, like full on.
Yeah.
So I just think like a big thing that I wish these young kids would actually take more seriously is the charter season is like 8 weeks, so they all start dating somebody, and then the charter season ends, and they get on another boat because that's what they do.
Right.
And then they all have these quote unquote long distance relationships. And I wish somebody would just tell them, like, you only like this person because you're trapped on a boat of 7 people and they're your option.
You like half the crew are the other gender, if that's what you're into. Like your options, it's slim pickings.
Yeah. The hottest pair with the hottest.
Yeah. And also like anytime the beginning of a relationship is more fun. If you do click with someone and are getting along, you are freaking honeymoon period when you're on that boat.
Right.
It is so not real world. They call them boatmances. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, they have a name for it. So that's where others will be like, I never have boatmances because they know it doesn't end well.
Right. Well, it's like you're also usually hooking up with somebody that's like your superior or like maybe a group that, you know, you shouldn't be interacting with that frequently, like the interior and the deck crew. It's like, you know, they should. At
least this one's pretty even. Two deckhands. Nobody's a boss.
Yeah.
But
so one of the questions I have, so this deckhand goes to make out with the guy, as we said, and they're showing the text messages, and they show a lot of the text messages on the show.
Yeah.
I'm always wondering, like, does production, like, do you sign away your rights to show your text messages?
I feel like you must because. Yeah, they must say that if you're having communication with another person on the boat, that's going to be fair game. Because I have noticed in the past where if someone has a relationship and that person is not on camera, they are never there, they're obviously not part of the show, it depends. There's like varying degrees of how involved that person is. So there was one season where it was going, and I finally was like, they've never even flashed up a photo of this guy because normally, like, they do a little bit of the backstory. So if it was in this case, it was a girl, they normally then show a photo of the two of them where she's like, my boyfriend, we've been dating for 2 years, and there was none of that. And then I realized they just kept saying so and so's boyfriend. Come to find out, they break up right after the season. That guy never signed away going, he wasn't allowing his face to be shown. He wasn't allowing his name to be used. And so in that case, none of the text messages he sent were fair game at all.
Interesting.
So I think it's very much, if you're on the show, you must have to sign away that your texts are. Yeah.
Because they're literally capturing, when this deckhand goes to make out with the other one and like defy her relationship, they're capturing her text messages with him. Which I love it. I know, I love it, but that's the smoking gun. You know, if you were trying to convince your boyfriend who's watching the show, like, I didn't mean that. This text
I fell on top of him in this locker. I didn't know he was going to be there.
I was checking the light as we're supposed to. Like, something weird. Like, oh, I was looking out for icebergs. Like,
yeah, but the second you see I'm up here, come meet me, and then you leave your cabin.
No, totally. So, I mean, that was always question number one. And then second, this season, we seem to get a lot of Sandy's repeat customers. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Which, Jessica, so this charter one, it's a group of women, and one woman is like a famous tennis player.
Yeah.
I'm like, did Sandy and this woman date? I think there might be a little bit of like a previous relationship there.
Flirtation. She claimed, she was a previous guest of mine, and then we became friends.
Sandy's got a lot of that this season.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, did they come back to Captain Sandy because they're actually friends with her, or did they like the fact that they were being filmed?
Yeah. And obviously, hopefully soon we'll be learning more about this world. But do you request the captain? Do you request the boat you want to be on? Mm-hmm. Obviously, the locate. Like, how much say do you have when you go, I want to book a yacht vacation?
Right. Like, it's going to be on the Mystique with Sandy.
Because if you really wanted to follow the captain, then you're told you're going to Greece. Like, you aren't picking Greece as your destination then.
Anyway, we will never know, but Sandy obviously
Yes, we will, Lauren. We have to will it into existence.
Mindset.
Yes, we will find out one day.
Well, and Sandy, I'm going to jump to one thing in this, but she's always harsher on the crew when it's her friend.
Oh, 100%.
Because she just gets so, like, embarrassed.
She gets embarrassed, and to be fair, I think she actually gets feedback. There are so many times where, again, who knows what's being cut and it's production, but there are so many times on other seasons, people have skated by because she has no idea that so-and-so is, like, slipping up. It just never gets to her.
Right.
But when it's her friend, they're telling her, especially the chef, he had a rough go.
Yeah. So he starts to not hit the mark this episode with the spice, which we talked a little bit about last time. But it's becoming very clear to these women that, like, nothing he makes is supposed to taste good.
Is supposed to taste good. It's definitely supposed to taste good.
Or shit is tasting good.
Yeah. And they were saying his plating.
Horrible.
And that's just where you can tell he's not classically trained.
No, right. Exactly. He was a architect, he's claimed.
Yeah.
And then he's now making food. And he's
right, now he's a food architect.
Right. Well, okay, so listen. So first of all, we went to this restaurant this weekend, and it had a similar situation going on where you were thinking you were eating a pizza, and then there was like a strong flavor of like Indian spice, and it was like, what are we eating? They were
trying
here?
To do that.
Yes,
where?
It was their vibe, beatnik.
Oh, okay.
And I felt like these women, because I was like so looking forward to the bacon, but then when the bacon is drizzled with garlic and honey, you're like, that's not the flavor I was expecting.
Anymore. Yeah.
So I get that, but I think too, Sandy in a later episode does not really articulate that the food was bad. She just goes off the guest feedback, even though she was sitting there at dinner on one night. So part of me thinks it's these guests. Like, I do think once the guests get something in their head, they can't let it go.
Talking about with work.
Yes. They can't
now
let it go.
Jono's been pegged, even though I think it's fair. Obviously we can't taste his food from the TV screen, but his two desserts have been atrocious.
Atrocious, yeah.
And then when they showed them play, like poor Aisha putting down that like overcooked lava cake with coffee ice cream that had melted around the entire plate. It wasn't even a scoop anymore. Not okay. Like, the dinner plate should have been chilled or something, or the lava cake was too hot that when he put it on, it was melting by the time they could run it up. Right. He should have been maybe scooping it at the table. Maybe that's frowned upon.
And what did he blame it on?
I don't know. He said the freezer wasn't working extremely well, so the ice cream was like already soft.
It was a horrible.
I wish he'd like blamed the humidity in Greece, like
something.
It's melting from the weather.
Like the girls didn't even bring it up fast enough. There's a lot you could have said, like,
that's where he is not very smart either. When I wrote down when the gazpacho, and he's like, it's some grandma recipe.
Yeah.
And he goes, I've never made it before.
Yeah, the lady asks him, like, what is this recipe? Not very, very shady. She's not.
Not because she wants to replicate it.
No. And he says, oh, it's just some random lady's recipe. I think someone's like grandma. And Sandy was like, don't say that.
You've told them that you had to Google a recipe, which is fair enough. I mean, I'm sure a ton of these yacht chefs, for inspiration, whatever, are Googling. But to tell them, and some grandmas, and admitting he'd never made it before.
It's just like, it was shocking. It's like, dude, help yourself. Also, the last couple things I'll say about his food, he had his chef's choice night, which is always supposed to be when you do your most elaborate, and he put a chicken on a plate. And but the chicken, Jessica, the strip was literally as big as like a piece of tape. Like it was such a small strip of chicken. I just thought in my head, if I went on these cruises, I would literally be the one like, could I get a little late night snack?
Yeah.
The plating is so small.
It wasn't like it was some rich thing that you only need a little of, and it's so filling. I know. His portion, everything is off. I do not think he's lasting the whole. If they're only going into the third charter, he's been clocked. And we saw at the end Sandy already prepping, asking her HR basically to get a chef on deck.
Right. Yeah, she's already making moves.
Yeah.
Okay, so beach picnic. We love a good beach picnic. This
Lauren,
one was extremely chaotic.
I could think about was us saying, you can never be the first charter because like the boat's a mess. If provisions aren't up, you can't be the second one either because they haven't maybe done a beach picnic yet.
No,
we've got to be smack in the middle of the charter season.
Okay, so usually with the beach picnic, also, yes, I agree with all that, Jess. Also, beach picnic, like you're expecting a remote beach, like in a cave. Where no one else could possibly have access. Maybe no human has had access to in a while. And it's going to be set up on a cliff looking over some beautiful valley. This beach picnic was literally they were running by like restaurants.
Roped off like the public beach. I saw one time, I think the camera was trying not to show it. One time they panned over to Joe or something like frantically raking. There was a thing like held up blocking people, almost like filming will be over here. Like you can't cross over. Not a secluded beach spot.
I was so shocked. It also like didn't make sense. The beach picnic was chaos. Like they couldn't set it up on time. That all did not make sense to me when they were so close to civilization. Like it would have been easier if they would have just catered from that restaurant nearby. Like then bringing it back and forth with a dinghy. Well, there were like tourists watching them.
Yeah. A little kid was helping them put a chair on top as they were struggling. Two things. Ian the bosun, horrible. He totally should have docked the boat. An extra man helping carry back and forth would have made them almost on time.
Right.
But for just Joe and Gail to be running back and forth with all that crap. And then, what was the other? Oh, yeah. When Ian arrived again with like the food or whatever, platters, and he brought a stew, and they had those wheelie case things, and Gail went, this would have been nice to have before. God. They literally had these carrying wagons at their disposal, and they didn't have them for them to set up. I was like, oh my God, they physically were carrying folding tables, chairs.
Because he like forgot about it.
Yeah, I don't think the bosun's great this season.
I think those beach picnics are always chaotic, but the one payoff is you get like this beautiful like scene.
Well, chaotic for the crew. I mean, the guests should have no idea how chaotic. They just arrive up on the tender. I
also think too, I think it's because they're young kids, but it seems like they should be planning like an hour and a half to get prepared on things.
Yeah.
And they're planning like 20 minutes, Jessica. And I'm like, what were you doing for the first half of the day?
Yeah.
The slide wasn't out. Like, you didn't have to jet ski around with people.
Oh my God, the slide too. Vince and I were also like, we will be requesting the slide. I know how much the deck crew hates setting it up, but sorry, I'm going down that goddamn slide.
Yeah. Well, and they always like soap it up. I feel like in earlier seasons, Sandy was always like pushing people like, get out the slide. And the slide was always the big problem because it was so heavy. Yeah. But now, to your point, last episode, they have a crane now. Yeah, so it's a lot easier to get out the slide. So now it's like the slide is no longer the drama, you know?
They're like, we have to have Nathan float away on a paddleboard with a guest.
Yeah.
And get saved by another boat. So bad.
I mean, that was pretty epic, the fact that the catamaran's like honking and like the friend comes back from being swept ashore on a catamaran.
And there are so many, I don't know if it was a moment of radio, but it made me think there are so many times where I would be so annoyed at like my coworkers when people put stuff out on the radio and you're like, could you shut up for a sec? Because like Captain Sandy then hears it. I feel like someone radioed, Nathan and the guest are returning on another boat. I'm like, shut your mouth. No one needed to know that.
Yeah.
I don't know if Sandy would have seen.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty epic, and the boat also seemed to be filled with men. Like, if I was that girl coming back, I would have like made friends with them.
Oh, I did not even notice.
Yeah, and she was like too busy trying to be like, it was a close call. I'm like,
scary.
Like, make friends with them. They looked cute on the catamaran.
Well, I couldn't get the vibe. I mean, the primary's definitely a lesbian, right? The tennis one.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know. Then are these just her girlfriends? I didn't know what the vibe of this.
That's why I think she used to date Sandy.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was going to say the inter-crew drama is the two stews. Okay, were you not confused by the Bree and Elena convo in the laundry room?
Yeah.
They both obviously are trying to play it cool and coy when they was like, so do you like Joe? And it was like, I thought you liked Joe. Oh, my God. No, I would never, like, get into it with a girl. And they both are saying, like, oh, he's clearly not a forever guy. Oh, yeah, all chill. And then they cut to Bree flirting with him at dinner. And in Elena's confessional, she's like, she knows I like him.
I know.
You guys both had like a real convo, like, I don't care. No, I don't care. No, you have him. Oh my God, no,
Joe.
I don't like him. That was so annoying. Then Elena, like, almost claiming she had
I know.
Like,
and
she called
was
dibs on him.
I agree. And then she was also, like, inferring that you can't really go after guys that the person above you. So she's second stew. And this Brianna is, what is she?
Third stew.
And so she was kind of
Wait, she's claiming, like, hierarchy?
Yes, Jessica, she said that. She's like, you're not really supposed to go after the guy that the person ahead of you likes, like your boss.
Oh, my.
Like, I don't think you're her boss.
No, she's not.
And you did not make it clear.
I did not catch that. Yeah, first of all, you were not crystal clear that you liked him. So I think fair game. Wow. Like, hilarious that the dating world has to be even on the boat based on how many stripes you have. Like we said, there have been a lot of inappropriate where it's a direct boss, which in all work environments that's frowned upon. But for her to say, like, oh, you're a third stew and I'm a second, so I should get my pick of the deck crew.
So weird. It's also, first of all, Joe, this guy Joe that they're fighting about is, I think, a freak.
In the sheets?
No, Jessica. Just like a weirdo.
I don't think so.
Like bushy ass eyebrows.
They literally were calling him eyebrows when they couldn't remember his name.
Just a weirdo. His reactions are like a little bit off in my mind. I don't know. I'm like, we're fighting about this guy?
I haven't picked up on the weird vibes. I thought he was just being real flirty.
Jessica, it's just that like boat mentality where you only look at the guys that you're with.
Yeah. They're
like the only people in the world. And it's like, no, there's way more fish in the sea than the 3 deckhands on this boat.
Yeah. Nobody's going for Ian.
Also, why? Yeah, no, he's a freak.
Yeah.
With his hair. Why is no one going for Patrick? I mean, Gail is clearly like...
Patrick? You mean Nathan?
Nathan, sorry, yes.
Wait, who the...
The Irish deckhand who's flirting heavily with the deckhand who is a boyfriend.
Well, I agree. No one's going for him, but I just imagine when that's the case, everyone on the boat it's so clear that he likes Gail that if you're the other one, you're like,
oh, I see.
Even though she's taken, are you really gonna, it's like, he's made his intentions. Yeah, I think that he wants her. So, but I agree. It was like, he is technically fair game.
Also, what's her name? Elena?
Yeah. Second stew.
And Bree are so different in how they look and act and everything.
Yes.
I mean, her dress, when they went out, I was like, dang. She's like the girl who wears, like, Pretty Young Things. Like, that brand.
She has an OnlyFans page.
Oh, she does?
Yes. Oh, maybe that was on Watch What Happens Live. Yeah. She has an OnlyFans.
Her body is banging.
And Andy asked her, do you make more money on that or as, a stew? And she goes, OnlyFans.
Oh, my God.
Being a stew is her side gig.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, that dress she wore, I was like, this is... I mean, it looked good on her, but I was like, this is revealing. This is a revealing dress.
100%.
And then, so it's between her and Bree, and Bree is just like a little bit of a like...
She seems a little frumpy.
Frumpster.
Hey, maybe she's got good chat.
She's got good chat. She's clearly got clever lines. All of it.
She's definitely sexual towards him.
Yes, right.
She makes those comments and he's into it.
Okay, the last thing I'm going to say about Below Deck, because I just think Sandy, again, would be really hard to work for. She literally says, this is back to my point last time, where she's often giving too positive a feedback based off of what she really thinks. Yeah. She literally, they get to the group meeting when all the ladies leave, and the ladies like specifically say, you know, it's kind of okay. They didn't rave it, right? Yeah. And Sandy goes, the deck team killed it, but you did have one mess up. Like, it's like when you're over the top nice, but then you say like, but there was that problem. Right. It's like, just say, you know.
She's too nice.
Too nice.
Too many chances.
And then she's, the talk with the chef, like he's like, she was so supportive of me. And meanwhile, she's texting to get a replacement. Like, I think it would be really hard to work for her because I feel like she's like constantly like understanding and positive. Yeah. And you don't actually know when she
means business
is having a problem with you. Yeah.
Vince and I have actually been going back because I started Below Deck maybe in 2017. Mm-hmm. So same, like it was either Below Deck or Med, whatever it was. I just started and was addicted at that point. So we're going back and watching old seasons. Mm-hmm. And I interestingly always thought Sandy was so passive and forgiving and all that. I'm noticing that almost all the captains have given a lot of chances.
Really?
And it does make me wonder if they're kind of like, you have to keep the deckhand on that sucks, but he's causing drama. Mm-hmm, it's like the Bachelor/Bachelorette world, where you know the lead is never going to marry the one that is having all the fights with all the girls. Like, clearly is not the one, but you know producers are like, give her a rose for another week. Yeah. I almost feel like the captains have to keep them on a little longer. Yeah. Because there's a situation with a this is literally I think we're watching Below Deck season 2 ever, and it's with Captain Lee. And I always thought of him as the hard ass. And he was very forgiving with this one deckhand. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe Sandy's not as much of a softie as I thought compared to the other captains.
Right. I also think that this is what I've realized as I've gotten older, like they are young kids. Yeah. Like they are like 20s.
So immature, yeah.
So immature, Jessica. Like I want to go on the boat just to be like, ladies, like let's handle this differently, you know, with like this boy that we all like.
I know a lot of them, I mean, if they went to college, this is like their otherwise like first time traveling and kind of being away from their parents. It's kind of wild.
All right. So anything else on Below Deck?
No. And I know in previews, still gonna be food problems. Jono does not step it up. So
what's your bet? How long does he stay?
He'll be gone after this next turn.
Really?
I think so. I don't think if it's another bad feedback on food, Sandy won't let it be 2 in a row. She won't let it be 3 because it'll have been 2. I don't think she'll let it go again.
I'll bet you that, and I'll challenge you that he's going to have a redemption arc. He's going to have like you know, I didn't think I thought Jono was going to make it, and he made it. Like I think he's going to have one of those moments.
All right, I definitely don't. So
we will see, Jono. Okay, do you want to move to Bravo in the headlines?
Yes. Danielle.
What
is
happened?
Out at Summer House. She had a statement. And I mean, the classic, you read it, and it sounds like it was her choice.
Like, oh my God.
There's no way. But she's so like, I could not thank production more for these amazing 7 seasons. And like, who knows at what capacity I might be around this summer.
Gosh. So she's friend of.
She's, if even that. But she's 100% been told she's not full time.
I mean, they were actively trying to cut her out.
Yeah.
I mean, truly.
All the times, like we said, when we never saw her tarot reading or whatever, she wasn't part of Jesse Solomon's song. You know, they were edging her out the whole time.
What about Gabby? Do we know anything?
No announcement's been made that I'm aware of, but I just saw the Danielle one.
That is such good breaking news.
Late breaking. Today's Tuesday. Just came out.
Okay, the headline I have is that Deadline.com announced that they have ordered... whatever the Bravo's like larger company has ordered a new show called Making It Manhattan.
Oh, yes.
And the cast will include Gia Giudice, Brooks Marks from Salt Lake City. Yeah. Gia Giudice is from Real Housewives of New Jersey. Riley Burris.
Atlanta. Candy Burris's daughter.
And then Ariana Bierman, which is
Kim Zolciak's.
Kim Zolciak's, yeah. Her youngest daughter, I believe.
Yeah. Well, she now has like super young. It's the second oldest.
Yeah. And there's more of them. Like, I didn't even write down all the names, but it's like a Kennedy is on there, the one that dated Taylor Swift like very briefly and was like way too young to be dating Taylor Swift.
Yes, yeah. I can't think of his name.
But they're all in Manhattan, and they're all filming like what it's like making it in Manhattan. Which not sure how that's going to go.
Obviously, I'm going to watch.
Obviously, we're going to watch it. Please.
I love how I'm always like, I don't know about that. But I'm like tuning in on air, premiere night.
I mean, like, day one.
Did they say if it's going to be on Bravo, or is it a made-for-Peacock situation?
Well, again, whatever the holding company of Bravo is, renewed it for Bravo.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't think they could allow these kids, these Bravo celebrity kids, to like be on a different one. Platform. I think the fact that Brooks Marks is on there.
Can we also just talk about how difficult his name is to say? That it's
Brooks.
The fact that it's plural,
yeah.
Like Brooks Marks.
Yeah. I was at BravoCon and I saw him a lot because he was around helping out.
Did he look like he was just full of fillers?
Full of makeup. I would say not necessarily fillers, but makeup. Okay. But he blended in so well with the crowd that there would be moments. I thought you were going to
say he blended his makeup so well.
That too. But there would be moments where he was like literally standing right next to me, and I would be like, "Oh my God, Brooks! Like I didn't even see you there.
Hi,
hey,
how are those sweatsuits selling?"
But I think, well, first of all, his sister's not on him, but I think he's going to be the pillar on that.
Okay.
Just because I think he knows how the drama should work.
Yeah, and they kind of need someone to act as like narrator.
Right.
Maybe they'll make him be like, "Oh, you have to come meet my friend Ariana."
Right.
And he just happens to know.
He's the glue. Yeah. I mean, Gia Giudice, I feel like she's seen so much drama with her mom. She's not going to be actively stirring it up. And then Riley Burris, never seen her before on TV.
You haven't seen, so I was a late watcher of Atlanta, so I've actually, and now that Candy's out, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like she's done. But I only saw maybe Candy's final 3 seasons of Atlanta.
But Riley was
a little bit. She was going to college, so that's why in more recent time you haven't seen her, but she's pretty outspoken. She would be vocal about stuff on Atlanta.
Ariana Bierman, like Kim Zolciak is such a mess of a human. I don't know if Ariana Bierman is going to know how to create her own drama. Like, she just needs her mom to react off of, you know?
Yeah. Did you watch their show? What was that called?
I forget. With Croy?
Yeah, basically just
Tardy for the Party.
Was it Tardy for the Party?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, of course. I loved it.
And Ariana, by the way, has an estranged relationship with Kim at this point.
Really?
Yes, because Kim's been posting weird stuff during the divorce.
I did not know.
Anyway, other shows that were picked up that, again, were in the news at this Deadline.com article. Something called South African Bush series, which is produced by Chrissy Teigen. It's going to be on safari, which explores the luxurious safari experiences that you could have. So I think it's going to be like Below Deck, but safari.
Okay.
Which could be good.
Also to battle with Vanderpump Villa.
Right, which who knows if that will get renewed. Interesting enough, there's renewals for a Vanderpump Rules that's completely new cast. A spinoff.
Oh.
And there's already photos of the cast. They're all young kids working at Vanderpump.
I saw something about that, and they were like, Evolution Media was tagged or liked it. Oh my God, you think the cameras are up?
All new cast. It looks like they're going back to the basics. People who work at SUR, trying to make it in Hollywood, have this opportunity of a TV show, and are friends and hook up with each other. I am here for it.
They better actually be friends, though.
I think they work together. And they didn't
just pick the hottest ones who currently work at SUR.
Maybe they did, Jessica. Or
the hottest ones are already friends. So
people are saying we can never go back to the magic because the first Vanderpump was filmed before reality TV was even like a real thing. But I think we can still get something off of this. Yeah. I'm so happy that spinoff is happening.
Yeah, okay. So current cast is fading away. I saw I do not listen to Lala's podcast, but I'll see headlines about Lala's podcast. And I guess she was talking about how she maybe bit off more than she could chew with one of her second mortgage.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, so she's finally realizing things aren't looking great.
Just got
for the money flowing in.
Yeah, one of my notes is that she's frantically texting the Valley to get herself on to the Valley because she can't pay off. She can't pay that second mortgage.
But those producers were like, nah, we're sticking
she's friend of on a good day.
I wonder how much they get paid as friend of.
I think they get paid probably just per episode, and it's probably like a little fragment. Yeah. Other quick hits. John Mayer came out and say he definitely never hooked up with Sheena.
What?
Yeah. Despite her hints. I think that's pretty old, but I just saw it recently.
She was like claiming she was part of like an orgy with him. Right.
He may not remember her, let's be real. She could have been like a side girl.
Could have been over in the corner.
Yeah, right. LVP, Lisa Vanderpump, is apparently came on a podcast or a show and said Stassi and James were the most interesting and best reality TV stars that she's worked with, which of course sent Jax like into orbit.
Into a roid rage.
Yeah, he was like, how dare her. Speaking of that side of the world, Zach was overheard saying that Jax was bragging about sleeping with Lori, their publicist. I think this was on a podcast that this woman was saying this. Or, no, I'm sorry. It was a tip at Dumas. He was bragging in a bar that Zach was talking super loud about how Jax was bragging about sleeping with their publicist, Lori, and then he would never get caught. And then Zach said that he was the mastermind then that got Lori, the publicist, and Brittany to take the photo together to do damage control. And now Lori is so grateful that Zach got that she is giving him free PR and trying to get him deals.
Oh, my God. The messy web they weave. Two other quick hitters. Zach has a new hairstyle.
Really? Shut up.
It's flipped up, and everyone was like, wait, he has a normal forehead? Why was he covering it?
That helmet hair.
Yeah, so that.
I need to look at it.
And the one you sent me of Jax and Brittany changing Cruz's diaper on the bar top at Jax's bar, and that there's potentially a health code violation.
The LA Health Code group is now investigating Jax's bar because he was changing a dirty ass diaper on his bar.
So disgusting.
The last thing is Salt Lake City. Lisa Barlow is being sued for $400,000 in unpaid loans for her tequila company.
Saw that. Oh my God. But did you read the deets of it?
I read, basically it's a he said, she said moment where a wealthy kind of friend, Bart Carlson, is saying that over the years he's given her a total of $400,000 and she's just never paid it back.
Yeah.
She's saying we did pay it back. I mean, this is very easy to figure out, folks.
Let's see the wire transfers.
Truly. Do we really need to go to court?
Were the like $1,000 Venmos just dripping in over the years?
That's why I think Lisa Barlow's lying, because it's like, produce the receipts, Lisa. Yeah. Show us where the check was.
What do you want to bet that guy, there's like no contract, that he kind of gave that money? Who the fuck gives that much money? I don't care how good of a friend, and you give that much, and it seems like there's no contract.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
But I've always thought Lisa Barlow's one that we're going to learn.
Fraudster.
Yeah,
I agree.
There's shady things going on there.
Or just a lot of lip service for like, invest in this and you'll get a return, and there's never a return.
Yeah, I really think that she's one that's living beyond her means.
Yeah. Right. Good call.
It's a Teresa situation.
Yeah, she's next in
Bank loans are being signed for funds that do not exist.
Right. All right. That's kind of a lot, but all my Bravo headlines.
No, you reminded me. A few of them I had not heard, but a few I had and I'd forgotten about, so that was good.
Okay, now we're going to move into Real Housewives of Dubai. So they start the episode and Caroline gets some hypnotherapy from the woman who she gave hypnotherapy to Princess Diana. Oh my God. Yeah. And Sergio, her man-child husband, is listening while she gets hypnotherapy.
I was going to say, I could tell you stuttered on the word husband. You almost wanted to say her child or son.
I mean, that is crazy that he listens to the hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't even reveal that he was listening to her. He just says, I happened to walk by and I heard you saying these things about me in your hypnotherapy session. Have you ever been hypnotized?
No.
I have once, Jess.
Yeah? What was it like?
I definitely had my own thoughts going on.
Okay.
But it was a weird thing where I felt like I couldn't open my eyes.
Oh.
I wasn't totally trying because I was up on stage and I wanted to like be in the moment, but I also felt like my eyes aren't really opening.
Where was this?
It was at a county fair down in Nashville when I worked for a Cracker Barrel client, and they wanted somebody to go up on stage, and it was like a group of people, and me being the advertising agency person, I was like, I'll do it to like, you know, make a night out of it.
Yeah.
But you
didn't have any big reveal.
No, because I was not going to make a fool of myself, you know, on stage. But there was definitely something to it where I'm like, I feel like I'm not having my own thoughts. Like it was, you had a moment like that.
So
it was like a light sleep. That's how I would describe it.
Something to it. All right.
But Caroline, when she's getting this hypnotherapy, is clearly not hypnotized. Did you notice that?
She did not seem any different. Yeah.
She's like pointing.
Yeah.
She's like literally pointing at stuff. Like, I'm the problem. Like pointing at herself.
I know.
It's like,
and we've also, like, I guess maybe because I know her too with Ladies of London, but we already sort of got this backstory. Like, sorry, it does sound like she had a bit of a tough childhood, but we also know she's like from mega millions, whatever. And it did sound a bit like maybe neglect, but I was like, I don't want to hear about you getting shipped off to boarding school.
Right.
What did we just look up? She's 49.
Yeah.
We're talking like as a 10-year-old, she was going to this boarding school. Like, agree, young and like you're being sent away from home. Very different situation than like how we were raised. But I'm like, okay, we're still doing this.
Yeah, we're still talking about that trauma. Well, and then the hypnotherapist kind of lands on the fact that her and Sergio have a mother-son relationship, which I was like, yes, thank you. Somebody has finally said it. Not that I was understanding that was the relationship, but I was just so pleased it was finally like named, you know, what it is that goes on between the two of them, because it's so weird.
Yeah. That after the episode, Caroline Stanbury and Jeff Lewis were on Watch What Happens Live. Nice. Sergio in the audience, of course, because he can't be too far from Caroline at any moment in time. Jeff Lewis with like I love him as a guest on that show. He does not give a fuck.
Right.
He will say whatever he's thinking. You know how some people just become so PC, they know it's going to become a soundbite, or they will not say anything about the person seated next to them. Granted, he seemed to like Caroline, but oh my God, with Sergio, when they brought up the hypnotherapist, the mother-son thing, Jeff Lewis was like, this is, ew, like, you guys have sex? This is disgusting. Like, your relationship. He was so grossed out by, like, how they are.
What did she react? How did she react?
She was agreeing, like, we do spend too much time, like, attached at the hip. But then Andy was going to Sergio in the audience, like, do you view Caroline, like, do you think she mothers you? And he's like, no, not at all.
Oh,
and, like,
God.
just oblivious to it.
He definitely does. She definitely does.
Well, I think the main thing was the eviction party.
Oh, right.
So Stanbury's friend is, like, gleeful that they're finally moving out and throws them this party. But then Stanbury uninvites Brooks because she just decides, you know what, I don't think we really resolved anything yet.
Well, so Caroline Brooks calls her the C word, right? And people like had to tell her that she called it. Did you catch that?
Yeah. Oh, she
was fully blacked out.
Yeah.
On national television.
Right.
That would, I mean, let me say some things. Caroline Brooks looks amazing this season. So she's gotten something done. Lost a little weight, something.
Yeah.
I think she's like, never looked better, but she's full on blacking out. It's like, Jessica, I would get anxiety if I blacked out like in college. You're being filmed.
Yeah. Well, you said it the last time. You're like, this party is the most lit we've seen.
Yeah.
And Brooks and Talene were ripping shots.
Yeah, so she doesn't even remember that she said that to her, or she said that about her, and then so she gets uninvited from their eviction party.
Yeah.
Did you notice that Sarah brings her like companion?
Yes. I was getting a little lesbian vibes between the two of them.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. I I could see Sarah kind of swinging both ways.
There was one moment that they kind of cut to them, and I rewound it because I was like, were they holding hands? It was like they were seated on a thing, but they weren't. The hands were like very overlapping, or like hand was kind of on thigh, like not like a, oh my God, like laughing, like kind of resting. And I was like, But then I was weirdly thinking that Sarah and Sergio are a little closer than I thought.
I thought that too. Like Sarah.
They kept saying brother, sister, but then again, Sergio's married to his mother, so what's
he was also,
what's it to him?
Jessica, he was also crying to her. Like,
yeah.
That's not sexy.
No. Well, Sergio, I mean, as attractive, if you just looked, he's someone like, look and don't speak.
Right.
Don't open your mouth. Right. He opens his mouth and you're like, and I don't like you anymore.
Yeah, right. He's too soft.
Yeah, he's such a baby.
And then, let's see, Caroline Stanbury then comes out at her eviction party.
So late. She's
and her
freaking
dress,
getting ready upstairs. Oh, yeah, just flashing.
Her dress is like a piece of cloth on her breasts.
Yeah. And then, did you love it? She didn't even realize her own arm, like, brushed a bit of it away. Her full boob was out.
Yeah.
And Talene's like, oh, funny how the tables have turned. And it's so true that, like, Caroline Stanbury, I guess a little bit different. That was, like, wardrobe malfunction. Talene, blackout drunk, falling down at a concert, and then flashing everyone.
Right.
Slightly different, but it was a funny observation. Like, but your entire boob's
I mean, the dress, even without the boob being out, the dress was showing off the nips.
Yeah.
It was, you could have been naked. I mean, there was really little that you were hiding with that.
I think after every season she's ever been on TV, I feel like she's always doing a nip tuck. Like, she's constantly, Stanbury, improving.
Well, she's got a facelift recently. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So her facelift is interesting, and it's making the news, not the news, but it's hitting pop culture because she basically got all this work done to look exactly the same, but just younger.
Yeah.
You know, there's no like filler or nose job.
Yeah.
She just looks like herself, but if you pulled up Ladies of London, it would be the same. It's the same face.
But that's the way to do it, right?
I think it's interesting. She's being commended for it. Like, everyone's like, good job.
Right.
You just look.
Andy was complimentary of it.
38, not 49.
He goes, I've seen a lot of facelifts. Yours is
Vicky.
Very well done.
Vicky Gunlison from
she's
Real House.
Morphed. Like, she's not the same
It took a while for that face to settle.
We have a Britney situation.
Like, the face was changing throughout the season as it settled. I mean, Caroline Stanbury, I think, got it done in Dubai, which maybe that was the difference, but it looks way different than Vicky's.
Surgeons out there, yeah.
All right, so
there was, still at the party, Stanbury's daughter, Yasmin. I was like, I think the 17-year-old's been hitting the bottle at this party. She's 17?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, the stuff she was saying to Sergio, I was like, oh, that's kind of mean. You know, she was like telling him he was like
too
pansy and all that. Yeah.
I don't like the Sergio storyline. Like, we don't need to keep hitting on the head that he's clingy. Yeah. Like, it's like, I'm sure is, but not to the extent that they're sound biting it and telling people about it. It's like I'm kind of over that.
Stanbury is interesting enough on her own to me. Right. I don't even need the Sergio stuff.
I don't either. So then after the party, right, Caroline Brooks is not invited, and then they kind of touch on Sarah, and she's going on this date. Just a train wreck.
I literally was like, and no wonder she's single. I mean, it's almost like as beautiful as she is, just such a weirdo.
Yeah. Like, so she goes on this blind date.
She's a freak, Lauren.
Yeah, she's a freak.
Your definition
I'm blinded by beauty. She goes on a date, and the guy is not attractive. No. Like, nowhere near
she's
looks.
way out of his league in looks.
But then she kind of, I don't know, brings up all these weird topics like aliens.
Yeah. And then he was like, I think they're real. And then she's like, you think? Like, him saying he thinks they're real wasn't good enough for her. Yeah. Because she's like, if we're together, we will be discussing this. No, thank you.
Oh, my God. And it's just, she just clearly doesn't know how to flirt. Shocking, though. She's been married twice.
Yeah.
to abusive people, which, come on, why were you in that?
Right. I mean, I think it's the low self-esteem thing, because have you seen before and afters?
No.
She's had a ton of work.
Shut up.
Oh, yeah. Her natural is not as natural as, yeah.
Really?
Look at her old...
Was she uggo before?
Not great. Huge nose. So her nose job is amazing.
Oh, wow.
And it really changed her face.
Oh, wow.
And I think just had a little more weight on her. And yeah.
Right.
But if you caught, it was a really quick thing. And sometimes when Chanel is talking just with her accent and she kind of, says words backwards or like rewords things and you're like, what is she saying? I didn't catch it till I saw a clip of it when her and Sarah were having that tiff in like episode 1, I think. Chanel said to her, instead of doing all your like work on your face, maybe you should work on your soul or something. So she made a dig about all like plastic surgery she's had.
Yeah.
So I don't think she's like doing it constantly like Stanbury is constantly doing it. I think she did it years ago and now just, looks good and maintains it, whatever. Have fun Googling her before.
I'm shocked.
It's interesting.
I mean, that just goes back to say it's like, you're not ugly, you're just poor.
Yeah. When they show all the Kardashians before pictures.
Right. I feel like that sometimes.
Yes. A good reminder.
Her kid, though, is clearly traumatized by her previous marriages.
Yeah.
And for her being so spiritual, she doesn't seem to be picking up on that he's like full on trauma.
I mean, I don't even know what age he is, but he's the prime example of when someone's like, you have like an old soul. I was like, this is very mature but sad coming out of a kid that age. I was just shocked what he was saying. Yeah, fully traumatized by.
Anyway, it would make a lot of sense to me if Sarah was bi, like, or at least a bit lesbian, something like that, because how awkward she was with that man, like, it just feels like she needs to have a Samantha Sex and the City moment where she like has the lesbian.
I bet it's so the culture though not down with that.
Oh, you're right.
You know what?
Yeah.
This is tracking even more why she maybe has never explored it and feels she can't. But then the last thing we ended on was Brooks and Stanbury having a little coffee get together. Biggest pet peeve ever, when people are late and don't apologize for it.
Which she did. I mean,
she just rocks up and acts like, hello. And then Stanbury's like, you're 30 minutes late.
Well,
that drives me nuts.
Also, her excuse was nothing.
I'm really busy with
her business and her kid.
Yeah, and Stanbury's like, we all have things.
The most iconic scenes, Jessica, in Bravo is when somebody is 20 to 30 minutes late. I feel like it just...
The Teddy Mellencamp and Dorit one in Beverly Hills.
Real Housewives of New York. I thought it was Sai was waiting for the... what's her name? Jazzle? That's not her...
Jessel.
Jessel.
Jazzle.
Sai was waiting for Jazzle.
Jazzle.
I actually like Jessel a lot, so I gotta get her name right.
She's grown on me. I really didn't like her when it first started.
Sai was waiting on Jessel in that coffee shop.
Oh, that's it.
And Jessel came up and didn't have an excuse. When you're that late and you don't have an excuse, first of all, it makes for great TV, but it's really annoying.
Yes.
And the producers...
I can't get over it.
The producers always help out the people who are waiting by timestamping.
Yes.
They always give it. We always know. We may not know what happened off camera or what Lala said to Katie, but we know how long Caroline Stanbury had to wait.
And we always get a few waiter coming up an order, or I'm going to wait, and then, I will get a this, and then you get them drinking it. Would you like another? I'll have another. They love to show the time lapse.
I love it. I still don't understand why Brooks is so mad at Caroline Stanbury. I don't think anybody does at this point.
No. It has to be Caroline Stanbury's shifting alliance and that she's okay with Chanel Ayan. It can't, there's like nothing else.
It's kind of a ridiculous storyline. Like, I'm a little bit like, this is what we're hanging on to, guys. This is our season.
Again, it's light and fluffy at Dubai. Right. We don't have really deep-seated issues going on between the women. So, yes, Lauren, that is what they're going to hold on to for the time being. Between the Carolines.
Yeah, Talene better stir it up here. Anything else on Real Housewives of Dubai?
No, but, an easy watch.
Easy watch for sure.
Yes.
All right, let's go Gen Z.
All right, so what are the kids up to these days? Great segue from all that plastic surgery discussion, because in general, people in the U.S. are getting more plastic surgery than ever before. We've had a 5% increase in cosmetic procedures since 2022, but Gen Z are getting in on it. So, of course, the majority of procedures are done on 40 to 54-year-olds. Mm-hmm. That was actually a little younger than I thought. Thought it would skew a little higher for, like, the majority. But the Gen Zers are getting in on the non-surgical. So that's the Botox, the fillers, anything that's like those just outpatient procedures where there's no nip tuck and you're recovering for a long time. But, yeah, they're saying increase in... This one didn't track. One of them was they did mention boob jobs. I'm like, okay, well, that's a serious surgery. Yeah. But they were saying that that's kind of increased, but in more, lower cup sizes. No one's doing the big.
Oh, interesting.
They're more subdued in their sizes. But yeah, they're just saying that Gen Z is more accepting of aesthetic procedures. And of course, this is social media related.
I was going to say, they're not accepting. They're seeing themselves on camera more.
Yeah. I mean, there was, what did they call it? There was some, I don't know if it was like the Zoom effect or whatever.
Yeah.
But when so many people started seeing themselves constantly, I'll be honest, I got Invisalign on my bottom teeth because I noticed how jagged they were from constantly talking and seeing it on my screen.
Right.
And it was before my wedding, so I was like, well, might as well fix it. That's the extent I went. I can't say I've gotten it where I've looked in the Zoom camera and decided to go get fillers.
But I agree. I mean, this is why they're getting it. Also, I mean, many podcasts have talked about it at this point, but are you seeing that on Love Island?
Oh, yes.
All the women look so old and they're supposed to be like 22.
There was a clip of, I'm sure a million plastic surgeons have done it, where they flashed up the picture and they said to a plastic surgeon, guess their age and guess what procedures they've had done. So he will list off a full thing. He put every single one at 34 or higher. Yeah, and they're like 26.
Yeah, right. I mean, they're just getting too much work.
And that's where someone, I think it was a different it might have been Giggly Squad, talked about it, where in the U.S., it's a little bit weirdly, it's usually the other way around, where I feel like the U.S. is the wild, wild west and like stuff is just whatever. And European countries are usually more locked down on regulations. You know what I mean? Like there are ingredients in the stuff here in America that is not allowed in the EU. Right. But it's the other way around in this, where anyone can get like a very quick license to do Botox. And they're just doing them like, oh, my friend does it. And it's like out of someone's house. So it's way cheaper. Right. So more women over there are doing it. Right. And going out of control and not having someone who knows what they're doing. So they all look so unnatural.
Right. Yeah. I feel bad for those girls. I mean, that's not... Love Island, like, literally changes your trajectory of your career. Obviously, you become superstar overnight, and now to be a superstar because your filler looks bad, like, oh, I feel so bad for them.
It'll be interesting to see any that then have a bit of longevity, how they change it up. Yeah, if they become more natural as
and they
their
all
years,
will, you know.
Yeah, in the public eye. But yeah, Gen Zers, they're down for the plastic surgery.
Okay, so I have two conspiracy theories. One is, have you seen that Justin Timberlake got the DUI?
Yeah. Oh my God, yes.
Is it DUI?
Yes. Okay. Well, they called it, was
DWI?
It operating while intoxicated? Yeah. Like OW. I don't know what the differentiator is, but yeah.
Well, okay, so did you see that the news was that the cop was so young he didn't recognize him?
And the quote?
This is going to ruin the world tour.
Amazing.
Which has now become a meme. Well, there's a conspiracy out there that says that Justin Timberlake staged the whole arrest because his world tour sales were really going down the pooper. They apparently sold really well. I was looking this up. They sold really well when he first said he was going to go on tour, but then he's going to major cities like Chicago, Boston, New York, and like there's empty seats massively. Yeah. So it's not that he isn't making money, but it's just that he doesn't want to do it. He just like wants to be done with it. So they're saying he staged this whole thing so he could basically go to jail, then rehab, and then collect on the insurance he probably has due to the cancellation of the world tour.
Oh, I thought he was doing it to try to up sales that people would then go.
No, he's trying to get out of it, they were saying.
Out of it. And his next shows after it happened were Chicago.
Yeah.
He was just here this past weekend.
I saw that and I'm like, I'm not getting those tickets. I don't want that.
No. He's never been big enough to me to warrant seeing him as a solo artist.
No. He's got some bangers.
Yeah. I love some of his songs, but sorry, you're just in sync to me.
Right. And he hasn't been around in the public eye enough recently.
He just, I think, has very asshole tendencies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had that whole, because he's gotten into acting more. I feel like he kind of put music to the side. And he was caught on a balcony with his co-star very much canoodling a few years ago. Yeah. Very much married to Jessica Biel at the time with kids. Like, I just think he's slimy.
Yeah, agreed. He also did not just have alcohol in his system. He had a lot of drugs.
Oh, I didn't know
like
that.
Like uppers and stuff. Not a lot, but just
because they kept claiming he had one martini. And I'm like, he blew a stop sign and couldn't stay in his lane. Yeah, some martinis can be pretty strong, but that doesn't make you blow a stop sign. If anything, you'd be like, if you had one that was really strong, you'd be like really careful, like pulling up, probably stopping way before the stop sign. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he had poppers, they're called.
Okay, well, maybe the combo. Maybe he truly only had one martini, but in combination with the drugs.
I also saw that somebody from the restaurant called the cops on him.
Love it.
Oh, the other thing I was going to say is that he also sold land in Tennessee recently at a $2 million loss. So that was another kind of factor of why he was
drinking.
Why he was drinking, doing drugs, but then also trying to get out of his world tour, but also collect on the money. Who knows?
Oh my God. Do we have a Kylie situation? Is he broke?
Maybe, Jessica. Okay. Conspiracy theory number 2 is not like a theory per se, but it's like news. I think this is going to be really interesting. So there's a new show that's coming out that's going to give people who believe the earth is flat, they're called flat earthers.
Yes.
$50,000 to pursue that theory. Isn't that amazing?
I love that.
So it's on this no-name streaming service called The Network, which we probably are only going to see.
It's just called The Network.
Yeah, we're going to see clips on YouTube. It has no content. It's not like something that I think anybody should watch because I think their identity will get stolen if they log into this no network situation. But I would watch this show.
Yes.
Like somebody convinced that the earth is flat and then you get to the spot that is supposed to drop off the edge and it still keeps going.
Because I want to see their crushing disappointment. And also the ones that still won't let it.
Oh my god.
They're like, no, it's a trick. You guys staged this.
That's the beauty of conspiracy theorists. They have a conspiracy theory for why their theory didn't work out.
Oh, yeah.
Jessica, the conspiracy will be that the broadcast network did something,
that they're like Truman showing them and they're on a stage and everyone's been...
I would actually watch a show like that where you just gave $50,000 for somebody to prove the conspiracy theory was true.
Yeah.
And like actually go put in the evidence and like seriously like see what they found.
That's amazing.
And how they think about like what they find that's contradictory.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. Okay, let's hope it just is like catches like wildfire and it gets onto a legitimate station
or just like
channel.
Somebody go on and do the hard work of watching the show and then bring out a couple of the top clips on YouTube. Like I'd be happy with that, or Insta, right? Yes. Just anything.
I will click. I will subscribe your YouTube page if you're willing to put in the work.
Like I want to see what these people look like and how they think. But Jessica, great talking to you.
You too, Lauren.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye.